250 years is a long time in the life of a nation, but in another sense, it's really a mere moment in the eye of history. Two of the gentlemen we met in the gallery this evening took their first breaths 1 century ago, 100 years before that, on July 4th, 1826, the author of the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson, drew his last breath. Just a single long human lifespan separates the giants who declared and won our independence from the heroes who stand among us tonight. Everything our nation has done, everything we have achieved, has been the work of those few great lifetimes. In those brief chapters, Americans built this nation from 13 humble colonies into the pinnacle of human civilization and human freedom, the strongest, wealthiest, most powerful, most successful nation in all of history. Americans ventured out across the daunting and dangerous continent. We carved paths through an unforgiving wilderness, settled a boundless frontier, and tamed the beautiful but very, very dangerous Wild West. From empty marshes and wide open plains, we raised up the world's greatest cities. Together, we mastered the world's mightiest industries, and shattered history's monstrous tyrannies, and we liberated millions from the chains of fascism, communism, oppression, and terror. Americans lifted humanity into the skies on the wings of aluminum and steel, and then we launched mankind into the stars on rockets powered by sheer American will and unyielding American pride. We wired the globe with our ingenuity. We captivated the planet with American culture. And now we are pioneering the next great American breakthroughs that will change the entire world. All of this and so much more is the enduring legacy, unmatched glory of the hardworking patriots who built and defended this country and who still carry the hopes and freedoms on all of humanity's backs. For years, they were forgotten, betrayed, and cast aside. But that great betrayal is over, and they will never be forgotten again. Because when the world needs courage, daring, vision, and inspiration, it is still turning to America. And when God needs a nation to work his miracles, he knows exactly who to ask. There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome, no frontier too vast for us to conquer, no dream too bold for us to chase, no horizon too distant for us to claim. For our destiny is written by the hand of providence, and these first 250 years were just the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Now, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Trump actually gave a pretty good speech last night. I think it might have been a record-length State of the Union address, but he gave a pretty good speech last night. And there were a lot of great moments. There were definitely some great moments to go over. A lot of make America proud moments, a lot of just celebrating different individuals. There were some touching family moments. He had a whole Venezuelan prisoner family unification thing going on there. A lot of touching stuff happened. Great time for the president last night. Really great showing for the president last night. And the internet loves it too.
Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. Until you came along, we're just always losing, but now we're winning too much. And I say, no, 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 you're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in.
Obviously, a lot of really good moments there. But then there were these other moments that we have to talk about. You know, it wasn't just all warm, fuzzy feelings, apple pie and Americana. You know, they wouldn't let us just have the good feeling. The Democrats could not contain their anger, their animosity, their hostility. And it got to a point where everybody's starting to notice now. This is not a good look for the Democrats right here. I'm telling you, you guys just shot yourselves in the foot.
We have Major here at the table. I want to bring the conversation back here to our group watching along. Major, you've seen a lot of these, I think, more than any of us. What stood out to you?
Well, look, before the speech, many Republicans said one of the priorities for the president was to make sure Americans after this speech had a sense that the opposition party was off the rails, was crazy, their terminology, not mine. Many of the contrasts the president articulated tonight were to drive that message forward. That not only do I disagree with the opposition party sitting before me in Congress, but I disagree with them so strongly and they with me so much that they can't even applaud basic common sense thing. And that line that you mentioned that he added to the speech, whether it was ad-libbed or not, the first obligation, American citizens versus illegal aliens, was meant to create a visual moment of perpetual contrast.
We have Major here at the table. I want to bring the conversation back here to our group.
A visual moment of perpetual contrast. And honestly, the whole question about protecting American citizens over illegal immigrants, that wasn't really the moment. That wasn't the moment for me. For me, this was the moment.
These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
That was the moment right there. You really kind of put it together in one simple idea. It's like the thing that everybody wants to say, but they can't really say it because it's too politically improper. It's impolite. You know, we don't talk like that around here. You know, that kind of thing. But no, it needed to be said. And God damn it, he said it. And I'm happy he said it. It needed to be said.
I think the part of the speech that's probably going to live on for most Republicans is when he asked the Congress, stand up if you think your duty is first to American citizens before illegal aliens. Republicans stood up. It gave him his most sustained applause for the night. I suspect, man, you're going to see this in a lot of campaign ads that Democrats wouldn't stand up. What did you all think of the showmanship of that, or of sort of the spectacle of trying to get Democrats to stand up for that?
Well, I think the point, I think that you know, and it may have gotten a little muddled, but you know, in the showmanship, but I think his point is valid. Everybody in that room represents the citizens in this country. And are you doing your job? He should, you know, the governor asked, is Trump doing his job? Trump asked, are all of you doing your job?
But don't I think the
It's a moment that will reverberate. We'll see just how effective the Republicans can wield this moment, but it is a very poignant kind of moment because he mentions the murder of that Ukrainian lady, Irina, and the Democrats, they sit there with their arms folded, stone-faced. It's like he wasn't even talking. You know, he gives that whole question about protecting Americans over protecting illegal immigrants. The Democrats act like they don't know what that really means.
So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
And you can see the moment. You can see the moment on Trump's face when he notices. He's like, look at him. Look at him. They can't even stand up. They can't even clap. Like the body language is very subtle, but it's there. Right there. His eyes strip. And he's like, look at this other side of the room. What is this? What even are you people? Hundreds of cameras clicking right now. He looks constipated. Sitting there looking like you need a laxative, bro. What's going on here? You cool? Is you cool?
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals.
And these bitches want to start talking shit. They thought that was the moment. Of all 2 hours, they thought that was the moment to get up and start talking some shit. I've been talking about this for years. I've been warning you about this for years. Hoes mad.
Hoes mad. Hoes mad. Hoes mad. empowering women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened. Thank you.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
And enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country. And you should be ashamed of yourself.
All she had to do was sit there and be quiet. But instead, she had to make it about herself.
And perhaps most importantly, I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act.
I think the other thing that he did effectively, frankly, was point out the stark differences between Republicans and Democrats. And my Democratic colleagues really walked right into it when he asked every member of Congress to stand and show the American people where they stood on the issue of protecting American citizens over illegal immigrants. And I think that's a moment that is going to resonate across the country for the American people. I think the other thing that he did effectively, frankly, was
No cash, arrested over a dozen times and was released through no cash bail, stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget there were people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up at her attacker in the last seconds of her life. She died instantly. She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal, set free to kill in America, came in through open borders. Mrs. Zaretsky, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina. How do you not stand? How do you not stand? I'm asking this Congress to.
How do you not stand? That is a fair question. How do you not stand? Do you think people aren't going to notice this right here? Of all the things that you could have sat still for, this is not one of them. All right. It was a very easy layup for you. It's like he was tossing the Democrats an alley-oop. You didn't even have to dunk it in midair. You just had to lay it up. How do you not stand? This is a great question. And this is a huge, huge problem for you guys now, because what are you supposed to say for yourselves? You know what? I'm going to let them speak for themselves. All right. They're going to speak for themselves. They have answers for their misbehavior.
What did you think when he asked him to stand?
Bottom line is very simple. We agree we need to protect Americans. He's not. By his reckless ICE agency in Minnesota, 2 Americans were killed. Americans are being pulled out of their cars and beaten. Americans' houses, the doors are being knocked down, without a warrant. And no other police department in America, run by Americans, has done what ICE has done. So yes, we want to protect Americans. He's not doing it, and that's why the American people are against what ICE is doing. So
Did
it was legitimate and right not to stand.
Just is it what
He
did
should
you
be
think?
ashamed.
It was legitimate and right not to stand. That's his position. We don't stand up for our Irina either, apparently. They don't stand for any of the Americans. The whole thing was kind of a spectacle, honestly, when you think back at it.
Heckling the president, and now you handing out the congressional or awarding the Congressional Medal of Honor to undoubtedly a heroic helicopter pilot and then a fighter pilot, an award show. I'm wondering if the president could have said anything that you'd be okay with.
There are numerous times that I stood up during his speech, and I stood up for each of the individuals whose valor was worthy of the praise that he meted out. But I can tell you,
then
I
why
brought
call it an
a
award
guest
show and
tonight
be
from
so
my
dismissive?
district. I brought a guest tonight. Because I brought in a guest tonight from my district.
Heckling the president, and now you call.
Well, she brought a guest tonight, I guess. I guess that's okay too, right? Thank you for bringing a guest tonight.
Well, I saw a couple of things, Bill. First of all, obviously, most Democrats didn't stand up or clap. And what a shame that is. What a sad commentary that is on the Democratic Party, that the idea that the American government should stand for American citizens, not illegal aliens. That shouldn't be controversial, but apparently it was to the Democrats. But I will say, Bill, something that I saw that probably most TV viewers didn't see was really the cowardice, because there were a few Democrats who sort of politely clapped. They didn't want to stand up. I guess maybe they were worried about being primaried by the far left fringe of their party, but they were all looking around. They weren't actually saying, you know what, I'm going to stand and support this because this is a common sense, obvious statement. They were all looking around for cues from their colleagues because they didn't have the courage to stand on their own. And that, more than anything, Bill, is the saddest commentary on the Democratic Party, that not only will they not stand for the idea that Americans should come first, they won't even have the courage of their convictions. They lean on the person to their left and their right rather than actually have some conviction. That is unfortunately what's true about Democrats in Washington today.
Well, it is being talked about a lot about how many Democrats chose not to go last night. Senator Fetterman, a Democrat from Pennsylvania, last hour.
The rest of people in my party would stand up and clap for. I clapped with a lot of those things that it seemed like others. Like I stood up and I clapped to recognize the family that lost their daughter, the Ukrainian girl that was stabbed to death, in North Carolina. And I stood up and I clapped that political prisoner from Venezuela, how you can't celebrate those kinds of things. And now I also celebrated all the veterans that were in the audience as well, too. And even more the political things like Erica Kirk. I stood up and I clapped for her as well, too. Now, here, can't we just be more kind to a widow? I mean, we just shouldn't be that long ago that a widow, with young children has her husband murdered, how we can't just acknowledge that as well, too, whether white people would attack her, whether the left or the right either. So I'm always going to stand up and clap for things that I agreed with like striking the Iranian, sites now for me. I never worry about who's standing up or clapping. If I see it, I'm going to. If I don't agree with it or whatever, I'm certainly not going to yell and scream and disrupt the whole thing.
Isn't it strange how the one Democrat who kind of halfway has sense every now and then, he's like halfway sane. He's also like the one Democrat with like an official mental disability. I find that incredibly ironic. Like there's literally something wrong with him, but he's the only one of those people who are halfway intelligent. How do you explain that? That is just a crazy phenomenon. It's like a 1 in a million thing.
Among speech watchers tonight, 64% say his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. And look at the growth President Trump made over the speech. So pre-speech, it was 54% of speech watchers said his policies will move the U.S. in the right direction. After the speech, that number goes up 10 percentage points. So Donald Trump made some progress with people watching the speech from their pre-speech expectations to what they saw in the speech itself. And that 64% number, that's pretty much in range across all of his State of the Union addresses in his first term, last year, the joint session. That's about what we've seen. Is roughly 2/3 have walked away from his speeches thinking he's going to move it in the right direction.
So a lot of red meat for the base.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. If you're a Republican on the ballot in 2026, I think you leave this speech being as happy as you could possibly be that he sort of stuck to the script on the economy. He gave red meat to the base on immigration, and they can leave the hall tonight and sort of take that out on the campaign trail.
Well, not only that, but the Democrats just committed a series of unforced errors. And not only did they do that at the speech last night, they're doubling down on it this morning.
But people are also watching for the reaction of the opposition party. And your leadership warned the caucus not to have any outbursts, not to take the bait. There was a moment where a couple of members did not, more than one moment, but I wanted to play one of them for you when a couple did not heed that. Just watch.
And enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country. And you should be ashamed of yourself.
That was hardly noticeable in the room. It may have been more noticeable on TV. Hardly noticeable. And then also when he started talking about corruption, the members were saying, what about you? What about you? What about you? That was another, more of an outburst than that, actually.
Are you accusing Trump of $19 billion worth of corruption? I mean, let's just weigh things out here. Whatever imaginary corruption you're accusing Trump of, it can't be $19 billion, though.
I don't think that there was that much, shall we say, departure from what the leader had guided us to do. Don't come if you don't want to come, but if you come, we don't want to give him a moment. And I don't think they gave him a moment.
Like I said, doubling down. We did nothing wrong. There is nothing to see here. And then, of course, we got to get to the main event here, Ilhan Omar.
The House Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries, advised your caucus, the Democratic members, to either skip the State of the Union address or sit there in silence. Should you have just boycotted the address? And do you think you violated the guidelines set out by your own leader?
No, I think it was really unavoidable. The president talked about protecting Americans, and I just had to remind him that his administration was responsible for killing two of my constituents.
In Minneapolis, many members of your Democratic...
Were they really your constituents? Like, did they actually live in your voting area? Because you're in the House of Representatives. That means you have actual districts. You only get a handful of the city to actually vote for you anyway. Were they really your constituents? Or are you just saying that? I feel like you're just throwing that out there.
Party criticized their Republican counterparts when they interrupted President Biden's State of the Union address, as a lot of us remember. Do you have any regrets at all about the interaction we played between you and President Trump just last night?
I do not. And I think many people look at that moment when the president says it is our responsibility to protect Americans. And he does not acknowledge the fact that two Americans, two of my constituents, two of our neighbors were killed. And it was important for me to just remind the American people that the president and his administration was responsible for killing two American citizens.
With hindsight,
that's not how we look at it. They got themselves killed. It was a skill issue. That's really what it was. It was just a skills issue. they got themselves into some situations that they just couldn't understand. And, oh, well, God bless.
The Congresswoman, do you think you would have been better off boycotting the speech like so many other Democratic lawmakers did, or did you do the right thing by actually showing up there?
I brought 4 Minnesotans as guests for the Minnesota delegation. It was important for us to be there, to bear witness, to hold the space for our constituents that have lived through an occupation from federal law enforcement, that have been terrorized, that have seen our neighbors been killed and traumatized in so many ways. And so, no, I think it was really important for my constituents to see me there. It was really important to my constituents to hear that I was reminding the president that Renee Good and Alex Preddy were killed under this administration.
And it's crazy too. A bunch of Democrats actually skipped the whole thing. They didn't want to show up. They boycotted the event. And so now you have this dual State of the Union thing. And I'm going to show you some of that in a minute too, because the Democrats are very unserious people. They are incredibly unserious people at this point. But not only did people not show up to the event, but the people who did show up, they made the whole team look crazy. So everybody looks crazy, whether you went there or not. The people who showed up look crazy. The people who didn't show up, the people who went to the other Democrat rally, they look crazy. You all look crazy.
What'd you think of? I mean, you used to be in that chamber at once upon a time. What do you think of the Democratic approach this time? Either not going to the speech, being told by leaders to sit in silent protest, but that clearly, didn't work for some.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I go back. This all started in the deterioration of the State of the Union. There's always been theater going back to Ronald Reagan when he asked people to be in the upper gallery. But when Joe Wilson from South Carolina shouted out at President Obama when I was chief of staff that you're a liar, it has been on a precipitous decline to the point now that it's actually less State of the Union and more theater and more, in my view, very disrespectful on both sides, both the president, the speaker, and then the audience there. I think the Democrats should have shown up. Don't play junior varsity that area, and listen to the president's remarks, and then go out and say what you disagreed with. And there's a lot to disagree with. I don't think it helps the Democrats. That said, the president was taunting them to play as his backboard to the shot he was taking. And I don't think you give the president that, Emma, knowing full well this is all political theater for the public that's watching and stayed at least for an hour and 40 minutes or 47 minutes.
Who's counting? That Joe Wilson moment, it really is amazing when you look back in history, how that really did kind of like break the dam or like take the lid off Pandora's box when you look in the history of State of the Union addresses. You wrote a piece go ahead.
Okay. Sorry.
I
was saying two things. I'll let you go.
Go. No, you go.
I went right then to John Boehner, and I said, you have to go fix this problem, and you got to go fix it now, both for last night because of what happened and for the future. And obviously then a couple days later, Joe Wilson did apologize, etc. But once that, as you said, once you cross that line, you weren't putting the genie back in the box.
Just one unforced error after another. The Democrats just cannot keep it together. This is actually a sign of how great the Trump speech was, just objectively, is how poorly the Democrats are reacting to it now. Listen to this, right? Look.
I respect, obviously, members who went. But I think at the same time, we need to make sure that those who are outside and protesting, who are hurting, who are really feeling the pain of the Trump economy, of the Trump policies, that they need to be heard as well. That was my goal in staying outside with them. Because like the abolitionists, like the suffragettes, like the civil rights leaders.
I'm just as black as you guys. He's an abolitionist now. They're all clinging on to this bygone era of saving the blacks and We shall overcome. He's a goddamn abolitionist now. Trump done broke his brain. This motherfucker's like 75 and senile now. He's an abolitionist. He thinks he's freeing the slaves. He literally thinks he's on the Underground Railroad. Thinks he's like a, what do you call the guy that drives the train? He thinks he's an engineer. He's a conductor on the Underground Railroad. The goddamn abolitionist. Trump is breaking their brains. They really just can't handle people being happy about America, apparently.
No one is against USA and our athletes and our Olympic athletes. They should not be being used as political props, though, and frankly, allow themselves to be used as political props. And I think that is going to be the question and the discussion going forward. It is very clear why the president did this. What is unclear to me is why the men's hockey team allowed themselves to be utilized in this particular fashion. No one is against USA.
They're just butthurt. They really are. They're just incredibly butthurt. They had a really bad run last night. They had a really bad showing. And then not only that, Trump was actually pointing out some very some particular bad spots for the Democrats. Like the hypocrisy of the Democrats is just incredible at this point. It's like their superpower or their handicap. I'm not sure which one it is.
Let me get this straight. I need ID. If I'm a person in New York who wants to get anywhere from $19 to $30 an hour to shovel snow, I need two forms of ID. But Democrats are arguing on Capitol Hill, why should you need ID to vote? Make it make sense. These are the issues we should be talking about. These are the discrepancies we should be pointing out. These are the hiccups that we should be bloviating about. Let me get this straight.
These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
No, they're literally crazy. They have psychologically broken away from the shared reality that the overwhelming vast majority of humankind experiences.
I'm fresh out of an ICE prison in Minneapolis. I've been arrested 3 times by ICE over absurdity, over us being ourselves, over me singing songs like.
This is actual footage from an actual Democrat counter rally. While Trump was out there praising America and calling out Somali pirates, they were cheering on the giraffe guy who goes and protests ICE across the country. He's been from Portland to Minneapolis getting arrested in his dirty giraffe costume. And this is their guy. This is their hero. This is who they believe in.
Take control. Take control of your city.
I'm fresh out of an ICE prison in Minneapolis. I've been arrested 3 times by ICE over absurdity, over us being ourselves, over me singing songs like, hey, Mr. Tangerine Man.
You know what? That is a very tiny room. Did they do this at like a conference room at the Ramada? This is the little ass room. Hold on now. I just realized the dimensions on this room. They are fighting for space. They're using up every inch of space they have. This is definitely a hotel conference room. This is like one of those Ramadas off of 95 or something like that.
Get rid of brown people for me. I'm Aryan white. There ain't no place I'm going to. And then all of a sudden, he's not ready for primetime player ICE agents with 2 weeks of training come after me. I got arrested in Portland.
Come after me. It's like Trump. You know how in the comic book world, the idea is that, Batman, he made all the other supervillains up their game. And so now because Batman is out there, we got supervillains now. Trump is creating Democrat supervillains, right? This nigga is literally creating comic book supervillains. The giraffe. He has a neck so long he can stick his head right up his own ass. The crime against nature. Trump is literally creating comic book villains.
I got arrested in Minneapolis in the last 3 weeks twice, but they can't erase a movement, all right? What I went through is 1/1000th of a lot of marginalized people and what they have to go through in those ICE detention centers.
Now, if you guys are watching this, some of you guys maybe there's a couple of you guys who are on the fence. You're middle of the road. You're what you call a moderate, whatever the hell that means anymore. I want you to ask yourself, in all of your moderate belief, do you really want to be on the same team as the Giraffe Man? Does the Giraffe Man represent your political hopes and visions? Is this your king?
And I want to tell you something right now. There's an announcement. Pumpkin Spice Satan is making his way to the State of the Union. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to rev up the show right now. We're giving out prizes. We're going to have bingo. We're going to storm the White House with...
They're playing bingo. How old is this audience, bro? You're literally, do you turn this shit into bingo night? They turned it into bingo night. Oh my God, you guys are just shitty. You guys are just shitty, horrible, shitty people. Don't even know how to have a good time.
What did you think about that moment when the president was asking Democrats to stand up for American citizens during that part of the speech when he was talking about immigration and immigration enforcement efforts?
I think you can agree with the what, like standing up for American citizens, but I disagree with the how. And so it's always about how do we bring our country together, but not stand on the backs of others. There's thinly veiled racist language, anti-immigrant language in what he was asking, and that was uncomfortable.
What did you think about that moment when the president was asking Democrats to stand up
for America is racist? Did you hear that? Connect the dots in your mind for her, right? Standing up for America, somehow, some way, yada, 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 racism.
American citizens during that part of the speech when he was talking about immigration and immigration enforcement efforts?
I think you can agree with the what, like standing up for American citizens, but I disagree with the how. And so it's always about how do we bring our country together, but not stand on the backs of others. There's thinly veiled racist language, anti-immigrant language in what he was asking, and that was uncomfortable.
Standing up for America made her uncomfortable. It's like her little shoes hurt or something. Her goddamn toes were pinching. You ever get uncomfortable standing up for your country? I wouldn't know. I couldn't relate. It's just not a thing I've ever experienced. I don't know what that's like.
What did you
daughter was their son. Sage was thrown into an all-boys state home and suffered terribly for a long time. But today, all of that is behind them because Sage is a proud and wonderful young woman with a full ride scholarship to Liberty University. Sage and Michelle.
Look at this nigga. He have Trump on stage talking about transgenderism, and this nigga sitting there like, I'm just a girl. Oh, what's his name? What's his nigga name? Danny? Ain't his name Danny or something? I forgot what his name is. The I'm just a girl ass nigga. Every time the Democrats drag a transgender out, I just can't get that idea out of my head now. Every time the Democrats they drag a transgender out, I just be like, I'm just a girl ass nigga. He mad as hell.
University. Sage and Michelle, please stand up.
Oh man, I've offended the old people in the audience. Shout out to the older people in the audience. You know, it's all love, no jokes. No offense to the bingo aficionados out there. I didn't realize Snowman was a professional bingo player. Probably has a shirt for it like the bowling league and everything. Shout out to the professional bingo players out there. My man Angry Snowman with the $10. He says, I was gonna give you 20. But then you started talking shit about bingo. My bad, Snowman. I did not know you were a professional bingo player.
It costs a lot of money to bring the real. And with this, I dress myself in cashmere. I dress myself in $100 pleated slacks. I dress myself in alligator shoes. I wear a $15,000 Rolex. I got the
Professional bingo, huh? Let me know how to get in on the game, bro. Let me know how to get in on that game. But like I said, the Democrats, they were, they were trying to show us the way. While Trump was in that room being all racist and all Christian nationalist or whatever it is they're accusing him of, the Democrats were outside in the freezing cold trying to show us how to do it. Sing along if you know the words, y'all. I know this is my jam.
No pueden encarcelarnos a todas. No pueden encarcelarnos a todas. No pueden encarcelarnos a todas. Imprison us all. Hey.
Oh my God. I just realized I was muted up. My bad. I was just sitting here just thinking all kind of horrible thoughts about them. This is like the most undesirable singing group ever. We're going to call them the Fuglies, y'all. The Butt Fuglies. Featuring Joy Reid and Big Vanilla. Dropping their #1 smash hit, They Cannot Imprison Us All.
No pueden encarcelarnos a todas. No pueden encarcelarnos a todas. No pueden encarcelarnos.
You know what's so diabolical about this, right? Joy Reid and people of her socioeconomic status or whatever, they never expect to wind up in jail. Like the fact that Don Lemon got himself finagled into a federal lawsuit, that was totally an accident. Don did not want to be a martyr. I promise you, Don does not really want to go to Gay Man's Holiday. That shit sounds all cool and all when they're talking about it online, but in reality, he does not want to go there. And what they really want is for like regular, normal people to go out there and go to jail. When Joy Reid says they cannot imprison us all, she means you stupid ass niggas. They can't lock all of you dumbasses up. That's really what's going on there. Joy Reid will never touch a jail cell. She will never put herself at risk of getting arrested by ICE or any of these government agencies.
No pueden encarcelarnos a todas. No pueden encarcelarnos a todas. No pueden encarcelarnos a todas. Imprison us all. Hey. Woo! Okay. I think I did okay.
You did amazing. Yes. You get an A. I don't give grades though. We just go on vibes, and the vibes were immaculate.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Out there jamming like some modern day hippies. Modern day hippies. I hate hippies. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I had a bunch of stuff in the bookmarks I couldn't even pull up. I had way too many windows open. I had to burn through some of these windows. I had so much stuff. There was just so much horror coming out of this one thing. Oh, here we go. There's another one. Trump was really calling the Democrats out, though. He was putting them on blast for a lot of things last night. Like, it's really hard to run when you're locked in the room for the next 2 hours. Like, are you allowed to get up and take a bathroom break in the middle of the speech? Can you, like, run away to the bathroom like when you're at the movies or something? Just, you know, excuse me, let me get by. Be right back. Excuse me. Can you do that when you're at the State of the Union? Or do you have to just sit there for the whole 2 hours and every time he says something crazy about you, you just got to sit there?
And perhaps most importantly, I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act. To stop illegal aliens and others who are unpermitted persons from voting in our sacred American elections. That cheating is rampant in our elections. It's rampant. It's very simple. All voters must show voter ID. All voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote. And no more crooked mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. None. And this should be an easy one. And by the way, it's polling at 89%, including Democrats, 89%. And even the new communist mayor of New York City, I think he's a nice guy, actually. Speak to him a lot. Bad policy, but nice guy. Just said they want people to shovel snow. They got hit hard. Wants them to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a Social Security card. Yet they don't want identification for the greatest privilege of them all, voting in America. No, it's no good. No good. Both Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly agree on the policy that we just enunciated. And Congress should unite and enact this common sense, country-saving legislation right now, and it should be before anything else happens. And the reason they don't want to do it, why would anybody not want voter ID? One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason.
Because they want to cheat. He was really in his bag last night.
These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
I am a physician, and I have a flag. And I am the proud representative for Oregon's 3rd Congressional District. Yes, thank you, thank you. And tonight, I defy Trump.
They brought the frogs out, y'all. Who let the frogs out? Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit.
I'm a mother. I am a physician, and I have a flag. And I am the proud representative for Oregon's 3rd Congressional District. Yes, thank you, thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, yes.
And tonight, I defy Trump and his authoritarian project by standing in joyful, radical, peaceful resistance with the Portland Frog Brigade.
The Portland Frog Brigade. I didn't even know there was such a thing. I had no idea. And then let me just touch on this thing really briefly. I just had to touch on this part really briefly because this old nigga got to go, man. Get this nigga a warm cup of milk and a blanket, y'all.
As you know, the president has depicted a former president and first lady as apes. The behavior has been declared racist by a good many people. But I don't think the president has really received the message that is unacceptable. He seems to think that he can do these dastardly things with impunity. Tonight, I wanted him to have a person confront him and let him know that Black people aren't apes, that Black people are not going to tolerate him, and let him know that Black people aren't apes, 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 that Black people aren't apes.
You were just better off not even saying it, bro. Now we have this clip that lives forever. You know, some unscrupulous internet nigga, you know, somebody like myself might isolate that clip and use it randomly at the most ironic moments now. You got to be more careful, old nigga. Can't be talking crazy like this on the internet. People might take it the wrong way and use it for evil thing. I might use this for a dastardly deed. And then really, you came all the way up there just to say that? And then you had to write it down on a big sign so you wouldn't forget what you had to say? You had to write it down so you wouldn't remember, so you wouldn't forget, just so you would remember. Let me make sure I write this down real big. I got to tell Mr. Trump something. Very, very unserious people, y'all. Very unserious. You know what? I got one last video. I want to share this with you guys. It's a little bit non sequitur, but Trump related.
Trump could soon force ban
banks to take part in an immigration crackdown. What I mean by that is sources tell CNN the administration is considering requiring financial institutions to collect and verify their customers' citizenship status, something banks aren't currently required to do. One source says the new policy could come through an executive order. CNN's Matt Egan is following this story for us. So, Matt, what are you learning about how banks are responding to this possibility?
Yeah, well, Omar, this does appear to be part of the Trump administration's aggressive immigration crackdown. Sources tell CNN's Priscilla Alvarez and I that the administration is considering new action that would require banks to check the citizenship status of their customers. Now, this would be something that would actually apply not just on a go-forward basis, but also to existing customers, which is pretty stunning when you think about just how many customers the banks already have. Now, this action could also require banks to check a different category of documents than what they normally look at, including passports. Now, I do want to stress that nothing here has been announced or finalized. It's not clear here whether or not this would come in the form of an executive order or some other action. We reached out to the White House, and a spokesperson said that any reporting on policy that hasn't been officially announced is just speculation. But some Republicans do support this. Republican Senator Tom Cotton, he put out a post on X yesterday where he said, "I strongly support President Trump taking action to prevent illegal migrants from accessing our banking system." And he said he sent a letter to Treasury last fall asking for an investigation into this matter, and that he plans to introduce legislation on this issue shortly. Now, Omar, you asked about how the industry is reacting. Officially, they're not really saying much, right? Representatives from major banks, from bank trade groups, they haven't commented on this. However,
so it looks like the president is applying
sources do tell CNN that the industry
he is applying the pressure in all areas right now, and let's hope he keeps it up. We got a good 2.5 years, maybe. Really a year before he hits that lame duck term. But we'll see what happens during the midterms. Well, yeah, he has to keep the pressure up right now.
Is concerned here because they're worried that this kind of action, it could almost compel them to be part of the administration's immigration crackdown. One financial industry source told me that verifying every bank customer's citizenship status would be unworkable. This source said it's a bad idea. We are very alarmed. Now, banks are required to adhere to anti-money laundering rules, know your customer rules, but they don't track the citizenship status of their customers. So if this did become official, that would certainly be a significant change. There's also some questions about whether or not this could discourage immigrants from keeping their money in the bank. Even undocumented immigrants, they do play a significant role in this economy. In 2023 alone, undocumented immigrants, they paid $90 billion in federal, state, and local taxes, and they had spending power of nearly $300 billion. And just one other point for you here, Omar. The president does talk a lot about cutting red tape. It's something he's very proud of, something that he mentioned during the State of the Union last night, where he took credit for cutting a record number of job-killing regulations. But this potential action related to banks and the immigration crackdown does show how, in some cases, the president has actually added new red tape and regulation where he sees fit. Back to you.
So the president is actually putting pressure on the immigration front in a lot of different ways. And because immigration is actually so incredibly important to our economy right now, all these illegals have basically embedded themselves into the economy like a tick, some type of hostile parasite. We're going to lose a lot of blood trying to remove this parasite. That's basically what they're telling us. If you try to yank this parasite, it's like one of those alien face hugger things, right? If we try to peel this thing off of your face, it just might kill you. And a lot of Americans are like, well, hey, if it dies, it dies. We're just at that point now. But I want to wrap this up here in a second. Let Joy Reid take it home first, y'all.
One note, we just want to do sort of one housekeeping note. Attention all MAGA trolls. And with apologies to the pastor who gave the invocation, your bullshit is not welcome here. And to paraphrase one of my favorite actors in the world, Robert De Niro, I'm going to slightly paraphrase him. Fuck y'all.
Yes, Joyce. Fuck you too. Felt good, didn't it? It felt good finally being honest. You notice how the only time the Democrats are being completely honest is when they're being completely profane. That is the only time when they're being 100% honest, is when they're saying some really hostile, profane things. Just like some niggas, man, I tell you. But anyway, I appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you so much for watching the show today. Hit that like button on your way out. Like, share, and subscribe. We got to get this thing built back up to where we were. I appreciate each and every one of you coming through today. We will be back tomorrow with another show. That being said, we are out of here, y'all.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help Black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.